Okay, welcome in everybody to EKU Football's Week 3 press conference, joined as always by head football coach Walt Wells. And today we're also joined by defensive back Derek Taylor and wide receiver Daquan Stanley. As always, we'll start with Coach's opening comments. If you have a question for Coach, please queue up in the chat. And with that, Coach, take it away with your opening statements.
All right. Well, it was great to get a win Saturday night in Roy Kidd Stadium. I know we had a great atmosphere, and I'd like to thank all our fans and students that came because they made a difference in the game and gave our team lots of energy. And we got to continue to have that outpouring from them, and we appreciate all they do. It was a good win against a good Houston Christian team that, well, we learned a lot about it as we went through the game because of all the newness they had in their team and everything that was coming on. So anyway, proud of our players, proud of the way they executed and played, and looking forward to a great week of practice as we get ready for a Marshall team that is finding probably who they are, but you can see the talent all over the field, and I know Tony Gibson well, and Tony will have them ready to go, and so with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Okay, Michael Watkins.
Coach, when you've got weather like we had on Saturday, where when you start the game, it's raining, then by halftime, the sun's shining, and then, by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, it was cold down there on the sidelines. So, do you change up your game plan at all when the weather is? I mean, it's Kentucky weather, so you're used to it, but does that change anything that you guys do on the field?
Yeah, no, I don't think it changes up what we do because it wasn't like it went from really hot to snowing or anything. I mean, it got chilly at night. Some of the Florida guys don't like it. I don't like it because of the blood thinners I'm on. But just put a couple layers on and go. We did wet ball drill during the middle of the week to make sure that we were ready for the potential of rain. It's just things you have to continue to prepare for in the everyday course of a game, and you never know, and you keep an eye out on the weather and make sure you're prepared for it.
Talk about the offense. I mean, obviously you wanted to do more out there, but was the game plan, was it more dictated by Houston Christian, or was that kind of what you wanted to do, was just kind of work your way in and let your defense kind of win this game for you?
I mean, I thought our defense was going to, come out and perform the way they did. I felt good about what they were doing and where we were at. Offensively, again, it's going to be a work in progress this year, and we're slowly getting better. You could see that Saturday night when you come back in and watch the tape. Houston Christian did everything they could to stop the run. They packed the box. They played a 46 pair defense and played straight man coverage, and we've got to take advantage of those man coverage opportunities when we get them, and we didn't do that in the throw game as well as we should. And so we have to continue to improve, but they had extra hat in the box every snap just about when we were running the football, and we had to, obviously make one miss and then get to the second and third levels. We just didn't do a great job of that. But we were patient with it, and I thought our coaches did a nice job of getting us through the game there.
Last one for me. In the Louisville game, you all were forcing turnovers, and in this game, obviously the same thing. So, did you kind of expect that from your defense, that you guys could be a defensive unit that could force teams to turn the ball over at this rate, like you have through these first 2 weeks?
Again, I did not expect it to be this big of a rate with the touchdowns, but I did expect us to have the ability to be able to do that. I think that's a credit to our players and our coaches and the plans that they have during the week. We do a lot of ball security drills for offense that work with the defense, so the defense gets the opportunity to try to strip, punch balls out, do different things, match the hand, do all the different types of things to get tips and overthrows and get the ball on the ground. And we've been fortunate. I think it's a testament to our players being in the right place, and that tells us they're doing their jobs. And so when those tips happen or when the ball gets knocked out, it bounces right to them. I think that's a credit to them and to our coaches to making sure they're in the right spots. And then, we have a thing around here, and Coach Johnson does a great job with it, is whenever there's a loose ball, whether it's a dropped incomplete or whatever, the defense has to scoop and score. And it just creates the habit of scooping the ball up. And you can see it happening all the time on the practice field, and that's carrying over into the games.
All right, Connor Sturgill, Fox 56.
Coach, you kind of said in your opening statement you're taking on a Marshall team that is trying to find themselves, as you put it. So how do you kind of keep them searching for themselves and hopefully they don't get hot, figure out what works against your team and you all can come away with a win.
Yeah, when I say they're looking to find themselves, they've got 70 new players. They've got all new coaches. They start off at Georgia, which is not an easy task, and then they bring in Missouri State, who is a veteran Missouri Valley team that has moved into Conference USA. And I don't think those are easy tasks for anybody that's had a spring with probably 3/4 of the team and then a training camp with the rest of them. But they're going to get better and better. I liken it to when I first got here and we had COVID and we had a brand new team. We had no spring ball. We had hardly training camp. And we go up to Marshall and they kill us. Then we go somewhere and get the win. West Virginia, and they get after us pretty good. But we saw some improvement. Third game we win the game, and then fourth game we go to Troy and almost beat them. So I liken it. They're going through those pains right now. But Tony's a really, really good coach. You can see their schemes and everything that they're doing is really good. They just got to get it. They got to play together. It's just hard when you haven't played games together and you're finding out on the field what they are. So it's going to be a great challenge, in my opinion, because they're going to improve and they're going to play with pride. It's Marshall, a prideful program, and they're going to be ready to go. And we have to do the same. I mean, this game has been played in the playoffs and different things for multiple years here. Back in the 80s and 90s when both were FCS. And, I think it says a lot for our fan bases and to get together. But, I didn't realize there's only 20 games, 2 hours apart, and there's only 20 games that have been played in between the two. So, it's been a really intense rival. And obviously Marshall's been on the good end of it here the last 4 games. And so we have to come out and, we have to play to our strengths, obviously, but also play error-free football, play physical, play smart, and keep, stay in this thing and keep pushing it to the fourth quarter.
And obviously 2 of your first 3 games have been on the road, and Louisville's tough on the road. And then Marshall, I saw before Missouri State being, they've won like 9 or 10 straight home games, home openers. So, I mean, just how's your team preparing, to be in these tough environments with very clearly rowdy fans and teams who really know how to defend, their own turf?
Yeah, I mean, when you go into those places, you have to expect, fans that are excited, fans that are ready to go. You got crowd noise, because of larger stadiums. You got things like that we prepare for. But in the end, it's us against them. It's it's kind of you against everybody when you walk in there, and you got to take that mentality, and you got to be a band of brothers that go in there and are going to fight for each other. I mean, it's cliche-ish, but that's true. I mean, you have to ignore all the noise and worry about what's important, and that's hard to do because it's hard not to get caught up in the situation and make the things that don't matter important. And when it comes down to it, it comes down to blocking, tackling, protecting the football, eliminating explosive plays and creating explosive plays. And that's really how you win any football game. But I think it helps us also down the road as we continue to go. Our conference is tough on the road, and all those things do a great job for us to get prepared for the season.
And last question for me, you're talking about, focusing on things that are important. And, you say, it's an intense rivalry. Marshall's kind of gotten the last laugh the past couple of times. So how do you keep guys, focused on the task and not let them get caught up in, all the history and the rivalry that is this game with the fans and everything like that?
None of these guys were really alive when the rivalry was big. I was a player at Austin Peay when that was going on. And so, and then a young coach. And so, I know it. I try to educate them just so they understand what our football what our alum and what our fans obviously expect. But in the end, they've got to play for each other. They got to play for EKU. They've got to play for what matters. And I think will keep them keep them that way. But I think it's important for them to understand that, great players were at. I mean, think about all the great players that were there during that time. You had Randy Moss, you had Chapman, the tailback, you had the quarterback. Oh gosh, he lives here in Lexington. It just slipped my mind. It's head coach at Sarah.
Pennington.
But you had all these guys that were great players, and then EKU had great players, and so going to be a part of that, even though times have changed and people don't come to the same university and stay for 4 years and all this, that, and the other. You're going to be a part of that. So do your best to create the value for yourself and do great things.
All right. Not seeing any other questions for Coach. Coach, thank you for your time and your patience. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you.
And now we'll welcome in Derek Taylor, safety here at EKU. Derek, if you could join the call here. All right, Michael, if you want to start with your questions for Derek.
Derek, when you look at the play that you made there, it really kind of sprung the game open because it seemed like both teams were kind of battling for that momentum still. And your play, obviously, a big one. Immediately, y'all get another fumble. But just talk about that and what Coach said about the drills you guys do and kind of how that helped prepare you to be able to make a play like that.
Yeah, so every day in practice, we practice our ball hawks, which is just anytime the ball hits the ground, we're scooping and bursting for five. And, fortunately, we're in a man-to-man situation there. I was following my man, and I got my head around, saw that Cam was chasing his man, and I just knew that with that tight end and who was tackling him, that there's always a chance of that ball popping. So I was just ready. And as soon as it popped, scooped it, and immediately what was going through my head was just get to the sideline because we practiced that as well in practice, building the wall, running the sideline. And I mean, it couldn't have been a more perfect just practice to game. Like that's how we do it every day.
When you look at, the defensive unit that you guys have, it seems like there's a lot of guys that hit hard and take pride in their position. So when you look at what you all were able to do against Houston Christian, what kind of confidence boost is that now as you go into another, FCS school?
Yeah, I mean, I think that first game of the season left a bad taste in all of our mouths in the defensive room. I mean, getting gashed like that is never a good feeling. So just another opportunity to strap it up the next week. I mean, we knew we had to really put our identity on film. And I think that we really did. I mean, I think we held them to 259 total yards offense, lowest since 2021. And we really think we can hold them to less. So just correcting the little things that we can take from that game and bring it into Marshall and, come out with the upset. We're not upset, but come out with the win because we already know what we can do.
And then Derek, one thing that, Coach touched on is, the history within the game and everything like that. But as a defensive unit, what are you guys focusing on this week to really make sure that you guys are locked in and keeping the momentum that you guys have built in the turnovers, particularly? How are you guys looking to keep that going on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, getting pressure on the quarterback's biggest thing. I mean, you saw the sacks this weekend. If we can get pressure on the quarterback, force them to make uncomfortable throws, that leads to all of our turnovers, man. And like you said, just playing hard, playing fast. I mean, that's our identity on defense, and we're looking to do that every single week.
All right, Derek, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. All right, you got us, Daquan?
Yeah, I hear you loud and
All
clear.
right. Michael, I'll let you ask your questions for Daquan.
Like, you look at the offense, obviously not the kind of numbers you all want to put up, but there were some bright spots there. So when you look back at that game, what were some of the moments or plays that you can take from about, okay, we know what works now, we know what didn't work against Houston Christian and take that into Marshall?
To be honest, I think all the plays that was called could work. It's just the possible of everybody doing their job and their assignment. Obviously we had a few players on the same page, some players not. But I feel like we can take any of those plays that we was running into the game of Marshall and use them. All we just got to do is focus on the details and execute and just actually do what we're supposed to do because that was like the main message of that game is that we wasn't doing like it was like some people would do what their assignment and then you'll have like one person off and one person make a difference of a game and it's just like if we get that fixed I feel like we can bring any play to Marshall.
When you look at the crowd that was there cheering you guys on, what's it like playing in front of that home crowd for the first time?
I love it. I obviously go to school with these guys, and I'm on campus. I see some of the fans, well, most of the fans, to be honest. And after the game, some come up to me and be like, what happened with this? What happened with that? Y'all did good on that. So it's like I feel like it's pretty intense and like just like a home environment, to be honest. And I love playing. I love playing in front of our environment, to be honest.
From our side, we talked a little bit about the home atmosphere, but going on the road now to Marshall, how are you guys? You guys have played in large environments. You start the year at Louisville. Obviously, the older guys have been playing in FBS environments. Does that kind of give you a level of comfort, knowing, kind of having an idea of what to expect and some familiarity with that it's nothing new for you all?
Yeah, I feel like most of the guys we got on the team realize like understands that playing at a bigger conference or FBS level that you're gonna get these type of distractions, but at the end of the day, it's a distraction. Obviously we going there to play Marshall. We're not going there to play the fans. So it's like we understand that, and being from me transferring from South Florida, I'm already used to that type of environment. So it's nothing new to us, to be honest.
All right. Well, Daquan, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. All the media members, thank you for joining us. And we will see you all on Saturday. Thank you. Have a good day.